So you just got a real estate license, or maybe you've had it for a few months, or maybe you've had it for a year, or maybe you've had it for a decade, and you're wondering, how should I be dressing? How should I be coming across, presenting myself? This video's got an answer for you. This is water, literally called liquid death. It's like the most metal water. When a group of teenagers set off into the mountains for a weekend of drinking regular water in plastic bottles, they became hunted by an aluminum can of mountain water that was dead set on murdering their thirsts and recycling their souls. Honestly, it's so good. This branding is strangely symbiotic with the video that we are doing today. How's it going, y'all? My name is Jesse Lynch. I am, among other things, a real estate agent, musician, photographer, filmmaker, traveler, based here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. This is my studio. I call it The Shop. This is basically like the third video on this YouTube channel. I know that it might not seem like there's a whole lot of reason to subscribe because I don't have a lot of stuff out, but I promise you, I'll be putting a ton of stuff out. I'm not gonna waste a bunch of your time, but please, while I have you here, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, and give the video a thumbs up. This channel is about whatever I want it to be about. And today's video specifically is legitimately answering one of like the biggest questions that I had when I first started as a real estate agent. And if you're not a real estate agent, that's fine, don't click away. I think that this sort of concept applies to a lot of different things. It could work if you're a photographer, filmmaker, masseuse, lawyer, maybe, an accountant, probably who runs their own private practice, if that's what you call it. I don't know. Or in my opinion, literally any small business that you run as an individual. So currently, I am a real estate agent. That is a small business. I'm also a photographer and filmmaker. That is a small business. And I have this sort of train of thought for how to dress. And to be honest, I don't think you're gonna be able to hear this anywhere else. I think nobody is gonna tell it to you the way I'm gonna tell it to you. And I don't know, I just have a weird way of thinking about it. But I actually have a ton of stuff going on, so more on this in a teensy bit, okay? One sec. Heard that they would fit this well. Gotta stock up. I just finished up shooting a video for my real estate channel. It's a lot of shooting, but it's gonna be good. And now basically the rest of my Friday evening is all for showings, but I'm very much looking forward to that. All right, let's go. It is 9:34 p.m. right now, Friday night. Fridays are proving to be crazy. They're always like the busiest day that I have. But yeah, I did 9 showings with 6 different clients. And if you know the geography of the Twin Cities, this might mean something. If you don't, it probably means nothing, or you can look it up on a map. But the showings were as far east as St. Paul, which isn't that far east from me, but as far north as Coon Rapids and as far south as Northfield. Northfield isn't even really technically in the Twin Cities metro. It is technically a rural city to the south of the Twin Cities. But it was a beautiful house, and I am going to be submitting an offer for those lovely clients very soon. And then in exactly 8 minutes, my man Paul is gonna be here, and we're gonna discuss a few final things to do on this studio. And I'm not gonna totally reveal it yet because I want it to be all the way done. Like, I have some plywood over there and a ladder. Obviously that's not gonna like live in here, but I am very excited to show you the studio, and I'm so excited to be able to create more and more stuff in here. Seriously, it's so nice. Also, this chair I'm on, pretty cool. It's actually just from IKEA, but actually IKEA didn't have it in stock, And I was so distraught. I was like, no, that's like the coolest stool. But I did find it on Amazon from some like super random seller. So I bought it and now I have it. And it's like an ergonomic stool. So it kind of like requires you to have like an active core, and it also doesn't look super dorky. Here, I'll just show you. But all right, I gotta submit these offers.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Chapin, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Good. They accepted. You got something coming up in 10 days that you have to do.
That'd be something you set up right now. You know, like things like that. I mean, yeah, for sure. I'll
Cool.
talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.
Got a pretty sweet deal under contract. It was an all-cash offer in Columbia Heights. Cool little house. And I think it has a ton of potential. I think it's a very good buy. It is 9:10 p.m. and I have hardly eaten anything today. And I'm going to make myself a giant salad. Sinclair wants my salad. So I dedicate so much time to these videos and to real estate, and recently, within the last month or so, I've begun to focus on my health a little bit more, and really just because I want to feel healthy. I want the energy that I have throughout the day to feel consistent and not feel like it's just pure adrenaline. And so basically for the last month or so, I've been eating keto, right? Which, whatever, it's very trendy, I know, but basically it's low carb, high fat, moderate protein. But fun fact, I don't eat meat or dairy or cheese or whatever. I've basically been a vegan for 14 years or something. That's kind of insane to say. And in the last year or so, I started making the first exception to that, which is basically I will now eat eggs as long as I know that they are super, super, super ethically sourced. I prefer to get them from friends who have chickens, but I'll also get them from farmers market, or I'll buy like the most expensive eggs from the co-op. You know, it's just important to me that I know that they're sourced ethically. Whatever, this video is not about why I'm vegan or anything like that. But right now, I am gonna make myself a really good salad, and I'm gonna chow it down and then get all that work done for that client who just got his offer accepted. Gotta schedule the inspection, gotta send an earnest money request, gotta let the title company and my transaction coordinators know what's up, and after that, I'm chilling, hard chilling. Bigger than my head, and it's delicious. Black tea, extra ice, 4 stevia. When I first got started in real estate, actually the first video that I ever made as a real estate agent, I talked about basically this one idea that I was afraid that I wasn't gonna be allowed to be myself. I would be lying if I said I didn't also look up a video about how to dress as a real estate agent. And I don't wanna dog on other real estate agents or other YouTube real estate agents or whatever. Like, I get it, like everybody kind of has their own thing, and some portion of the population needs to be coached into this really rigid path because, for one, sadly, maybe they're not creative or they're not in tune with that creativity, because I tend to think most people could be creative, but it's a muscle that you have to work. But anyways, that is a rant for a totally different video. But yeah, so when I got started, I pained over how am I supposed to dress? And mostly because I look at other real estate agents and in my day-to-day do not dress how most real estate agents dress. And it just worried me. I thought, do I need to dress like that to be a successful real estate agent? Or even worse, would a brokerage or a team that I ended up joining require me to dress a certain way? It's true, I think that a lot of teams and brokerages sort of do, to some degree, want you to present yourself in a certain way. But honestly, and you can ask the manager at my brokerage, I asked every brokerage or team lead that I interviewed with, what do I have to dress like? And more specifically, can I look how I want to look? And I wasn't super interested in a lot of the bigger name brokerages. I just kind of knew that vibe wasn't for me. And so I did interview with, I think, 3 or 4 smaller brokerages, and I asked them all that. But the brokerages, more so than the teams, were sort of saying, we don't have a say in how you run your business. You can run it however you want, and so you can dress however you want. So that was cool. But I will admit that I showed up to those interviews with those brokers, like dressed different than I normally dress. I still think about it. Like, I went out and paid like, I don't know, $150 for like a coat that I thought came across as like somewhat professional. I suppose it was like a pea coat or something like that. But yeah, and I showed up and I wore that to every one of the interviews. I was very uncomfortable. It wasn't how I'm used to dressing, but you know, I just wanted to make that first impression. I also put my hair up, which I just do that sometimes. It's not like necessarily 100% of the time I'm trying to like look really professional. Sometimes I just put my hair up. But that being said, if I'm trying to look professional, I'm probably gonna put my hair up. Look at Chicken. Look, she's so cute. Hey, Chicken. Fun fact, I'm allergic to cats, but I actually am not at all allergic to Chewy. I forget what breed she is. If you're curious, leave a comment. I want to give like a weird random shout out. I don't know the dude personally, but he really did have like a sizable impact on my approach to being a real estate agent, literally before I was licensed. So fun fact, a friend of mine, Eric, who's also a real estate agent, he was before me, and I love him to death. He told me about this podcast, and he said, oh, you should listen to this podcast. It's pretty dope. And it's called Real Estate Rockstars. Right now, it's hosted by a dude named Aaron Amuchastegui, who I really love as a host. It used to be hosted by a guy named Pat Hyban. And no offense, Pat, I prefer Aaron as a host. I think he gets to it and asks really, really great questions, and he doesn't linger on things too much. So if you're a brand new real estate agent, or just one who's been in it and you're struggling, I would really recommend listening to that podcast. I'm a big fan, and I do have a goal to be on it someday. So it's gonna happen, I promise, it's gonna happen. So I listened to a ton of episodes of Real Estate Rockstars before I even had my license. And honestly, I bet for like the last 2 weeks of class, I listened to at least 2 a day. And between the last class and when I was officially licensed, I'm pretty sure I listened to like 60 episodes of Real Estate Rockstars. And if you watch my other video, you kind of know that like I just devour information, right? Boom, this is a perfect example of that. I just devoured information until I thought, okay, cool, I got it. I still listen to the podcast, but not as much as I did in that first time. I mean, I just was listening to everybody's techniques. I wanted to know how like all the top producers were doing the highest volume, and just figure out, okay, there's gotta be a lane that I think fits what I wanna do. And there was, but it wasn't necessarily obvious. But anyways, I listened to Real Estate Rockstars, and one particular episode was this fella named Peter Lorimer. You might know him. He's like a host of a Netflix show called Stay Here. They do like, I think Airbnb and like short-term rentals, and they take like kind of not so cool but full of potential Airbnb rentals, and they make them like really sick and, you know, improve their operations or whatever. But I guess it's like a undercover kitchen or whatever that is for Airbnb. I don't know. But anyways, Peter Lorimer, before he was a real estate agent, he was a DJ, like a top 40 DJ, lived in LA. He's like from the UK. Very interesting story. But I swear to God, I listened to this episode of Real Estate Rockstars at exactly the right time. And he really spoke to this idea that you don't have to be like the standard real estate agent. In fact, that's actually probably worse. And that authenticity is absolutely king. And I swear, I just listened to him at the right time before I got anything in motion, and I thought, that's it. And some of you are probably watching this like, hey, I clicked this to figure out what clothes I should buy as a real estate agent, but you're missing the point. The point is that you should be authentic to yourself. And look, if you want to dress like a stereotypical real estate agent, basically slacks, a button-up shirt, and a blazer, okay, cool. Then there you go. That's what you should wear as a real estate agent. But real quick, I'm gonna ask you one question, and then I have to go do some showings in the Nokomis neighborhood of Minneapolis, and then I'm gonna head back to the shop, and I have a little bit more to talk about. But one question, truly, I want you to think about this. You're watching this video. Maybe you asked, how should I dress as a real estate agent? Maybe you asked, how should I dress as a business professional? And this just happened to come up. But whatever occupation it is, I actually want you to ask yourself this one question. As a new real estate agent, am I trying to fit in or am I trying to stand out? All right, let's get going.
Conventional financing. What about home warranty did for 1030 or so for reviewing?
Beautiful. I appreciate it. He's on mute. I'm working on an offer for a client. Pretty cool house.
In a sec, figuring some settings out. So excited.
All right, take a step back. All right, we are back in the shop, and look, I know that it is a challenge, okay, when you're getting into real estate. There are so many things to focus on, so many things to worry about, and I'm gonna say that there's approximately 20 million people on this planet who think that they know how you should run your business, okay? And they can put on some real nice boots with some nice treads and take a hike, okay? So many people think that branding is a logo or an icon and a slogan. And I'm here to tell you, they're the teeniest, tiniest pieces of branding. And look, I'm probably gonna say this kind of thing like 1,000 more times on this channel, especially if I decide to make more videos like this, which I don't know. So sorry about it, but not sorry. If you are starting a business, or if you are becoming a real estate agent where you are the only employee, then look, the brand is not the logo, the slogan, the icon, the font, whatever. The brand is you, okay? And if you're ever gonna get your business off the ground, real estate or not, you are going to need people to trust you. And I can't think of a better way to make people not trust you than to suddenly become somebody else. And if you think you can compensate for not being good at what you do by looking a certain way, all of a sudden, and the people who know you as previous iterations of yourself aren't gonna be able to smell your bullshit from a quarter mile away, you got another thing coming. They can. People are too smart for that, and you should respect your friends. You should respect your sphere, okay? That's a real estate thing. I don't know. I think it's an annoying word, but nonetheless, your sphere of influence, your SOI, you should respect those people. You should know that those people know what you were like before this. So if right before you got into real estate, you were wearing athletic pants and a t-shirt, and now all of a sudden, I got a new job and now I wear a suit. Okay, you don't think the people who already know, like, and trust you are gonna be able to smell the bullshit on your breath? Suddenly you're dressing like Michael Douglas from the movie Wall Street, but before that you worked at like an oil changing place? Look, people already know you and they already like you. So I would like to know, why would you change dramatically because you're in a different business in which you need people to know and like you? And hey, remember Liquid Death? Delicious. How many companies do you think there are in the world that are trying to make sparkling water? Probably less than there are real estate agents, because everybody knows a ton of real estate agents, right? Or if you're an accountant, how many accountants there are in the world? If you're a photographer, how many photographers are there in the world? A ton. Look, I got Liquid Death at Whole Foods, okay? Whole Foods, pretty big company, yeah? Pretty big distributor. Other than this being generally delicious, refreshing, crispy, and clean, what do you think made a unflavored sparkling beverage in a black can with a skull on it called Liquid Death, make it into Whole Foods. I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. 3, 2, 1. It's different. And I don't remember who said this, but I have taken it with me for the last year, and different is better than better. So if you're just getting started in real estate or any other business, especially if you aren't somehow also an expert at that thing prior to getting into the business, then you can't necessarily be better, but you can be different. So, cheers to Liquid Death and to being different. In resolution, how should you dress as a new real estate agent? Like yourself. Look, if you like to wear a suit and a tie or a blazer or a nice polo or a nice sharp button-up, do that. Are your friends and family and people you know used to seeing you like that? Then dress like that. Do you have a history of being very, very tidy and looking real sharp? Then dress like that. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not different, I'm pretty straight up. Look, you don't have to look different. You can still be different if you don't look different. Liquid Death's can looks different than most sparkling waters I've ever seen. I will say that my eye was drawn to this just out of like, whoa, a black can in the water section? What's going on here? It's called Liquid Death. Whoa, crazy. It says the word murder on it. Very crazy. However, they're not just different, they are good. It is very good. I don't know if it's the best water I've ever had, but it's quite tasty, and they donate 10% of their profits to charity to help fight pollution of plastic. And they donate 10% of the profits from every can sold to kill plastic pollution. By the way, this is not sponsored by Liquid Death, but I did find it to be a particularly good metaphor for how I think you should be thinking about your business. Different is better than better, so try to be different in whatever way that is. Again, you don't have to look different. You can still be different. You can still behave different. You can still market yourself in a different way. And then once you figure out how to be different and how to stand out and to be a beacon in a sea of mediocrity and blandness, which I assure you, you are in a sea of mediocrity and blandness, then you can truly focus on how to be the best. And if being the best appeals to you, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, give this video a thumbs up, whatever side it's on, and say hey in the comments. I'd love to know what other videos you want me to make, but I appreciate you being here watching this. It is now 11:56 p.m. and I'm gonna go home now. I appreciate you watching this. Love ya. Bye-bye.